You, sir?
Yeah, myself first time.
First time?
First time.
Wow. And do you know each other or it's just coincidence?
No, coincidence.
Wow. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. So, anyway, welcome. Thank you for coming. We're going to get into this text in a few minutes. But why don't we start with a little bit of meditation? Have you had experience meditating before?
Not really.
Not really?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing.
A little bit, okay. Okay. So, alright. For the more senior students, and yeah, you've heard this all before. We have three newcomers, so we should go over this again. Some level of detail, okay? So, first of all, the meditation posture is very important, actually. So as, there's a relationship between the body and mind. So if the body is in a disciplined state, then the mind is also easy to discipline, which is actually the main purpose of what we're trying to do here. So, try to get into a comfortable meditation posture. Of course, if you can sit in the lotus posture, Padmasana, it's very, very good. Otherwise, a half lotus. Otherwise, even that is okay. But actually, the most important thing is to have a straight back. So, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, try to keep the back straight, and try to envision that your nose is over your navel, so your body is quite centered. And then with the hands, you can have on the knees like this, it's okay. In the Buddhist tradition, you often see this, the left hand on first, the right hand on top of it. It's called the samadhi mudra. So you can put that in your lap. Like that. And then try to make sure that your shoulders are hunched over like this, so roll them up and back. And then just gently tuck your chin into your neck like this, which will elongate the back of your neck. And then for our meditation, well, different teachers say different things about whether to keep the eyes open or closed. But it's better if you don't have an established meditation practice already to keep what? You can't hear my voice. It's what? What's wrong with the sound? Can you hear?
It's a little muffled.
Why?
I tried to make it better, but I think it's better than yesterday.
Yeah, it's better than yesterday.
It's better than yesterday.
But I think it's just a mic problem.
Or the speakers are very good somehow. We'll have to get off to look at it.
Yes.
It's beyond mine.
Yes.
Or replace a battery?
Huh?
No, it's not always a battery. It's not a battery.
So just press pause on the teaching. At one point I was a professional musician. Yeah. And before a show, they would do the sound check hours before. Before other people came. Very important. And they do a quite extensive sound check to make sure that all the sound is good. So I wonder,
I did do a check, and so that's what's
important. Oh, hey, Shanti, hi. eyes just slightly open, you know? So maybe, I don't know, can you tell that my eyes are open? Yes? Okay, so it's like that. Not so wide open, but just a little bit to let the light in. Okay? And then try to put your gaze just down in the neutral space in front of you. And normally if you wear spectacles, you can also take them off in this meditation. Okay. So then, we're going to do what's called mindfulness of breath meditation, or anapanasati. So yesterday we tried to focus on rising and falling of the abdomen. And today we'll do slightly different. We'll use this area here where a man with a mustache, you know, in the upper lip and nostril area. Yeah? So as you breathe in, you might feel some sensation in this area, right? Some cooling, perhaps. Yeah? The sensation of the air passing over the skin. Similarly, when you breathe out. Okay? So, place your mind's awareness on this area and just watch to see whatever kind of sensations are there. Be they the air over the skin, or maybe you have some itching, maybe you have some tingling. Okay? So the point is, it doesn't matter what sensation is there. The point is to watch, observe, and discover what sensation is there. Okay? All right. Now we can also, for us, we can count the exhalation. So right at the end of the exhalation, just mentally note 1. Breathe in again, exhale, and mentally count 2, and so forth, until you reach 10. When you reach 10, start over again with 1. If you notice that your mind has wandered off before you reach 10, to the point where you've lost your object of concentration, you can also just start over again. But while we're trying to focus on the breath, then the point is whatever kind of other appearances occur in the mind, be they internal, like different thoughts, or external, like sounds, then don't follow after the would-be distractions, and rather just, you can notice them, but don't engage. And this way, try to stay focused and absorbed in the breath itself. So whatever other appearances occur in the mind, you try to think of it like, writing on the surface of water. The very split second after you draw on the surface of water, that very drawing dissolves back into the nature of the water, leaving no trace. So we'll do this for just 4 more minutes. Okay, so my new friends, the instructions on how to do this meditation you heard. Great. You have everything you need so you can do this practice tomorrow. Great. Okay. Good. My job is done. I can go home. And you, sir. Hi. Have you been here before?
What's that?
Oh? Okay. Alright. Good. Welcome. So, let's see. As I explained last night, we've been going through this text now for a number of months. And we usually do it over a weekend. Usually it's Saturday night at 7:30, but this weekend is special. So we did a Friday night and tonight, and unfortunately nothing tomorrow. But when we do it in 2 sessions over a weekend, I spend the majority of the first day doing the general introduction. So there was, I think, one new person yesterday, right? But yet I spent the whole time last night doing the general introduction. And now, when we're supposed to just dive into the text, there are 4 people who are new. One of the challenges of the journey. So, I was very happy, actually, with what we covered yesterday. Huh? But that's in the past. And all we have is the present moment. So let me, just on the fly, do another, just very brief introduction, but in a very different way than last night. So the people that came yesterday, hopefully it won't be boring for them. Okay? Okay? So the main thing that we were covering last night in terms of introduction is 2 very important questions. Yeah? Very important questions. Okay? Because here, we're at the, they call this place the Dharma Center, right? The center of Dharma. Right? So then, the questions are, what is Dharma? And why do we need to practice Dharma? Why do we need to learn about Dharma? Right? So sometimes I even ask the new people who come, why did you come here? All the things you could be doing on a Saturday night in Bangalore. Right? Why come here of all places? Yeah? It's a good question. So I was trying to then answer these questions in the context of this very text that we're studying here, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, Venerable Master Shantideva. Okay? And so I offered quotations, stanzas from the text itself as my kind of proof. So people, if they want to argue, it's not that they're arguing with me, they have to argue with Shantideva. Right? Sake, do you want to argue with Shantideva? So I actually understand now. There's a bit of distortion. That's what it is. Yeah?
My hunch is that speaker needs to be replaced.
But you're able to understand the words coming out of my mouth? Yeah? So, alright, let's just Okay. So please turn to page 35. Okay? And we'll just do this on the basis of stanzas 6, 7, and 8. Okay? So stanza 6 on the top row. The perfect teacher himself has shown that in this way all fears, as well as all boundless miseries, originate from the mind. Who intentionally created all the weapons for those in hell? Who created the burning iron ground? From where did all the women in hell ensue? The Mighty One has said that all such things are the working of negative mind. Hence, within the three world spheres, there is nothing to fear other than my mind. Okay? Yeah. So what we were talking about yesterday, and what we talk about every time, is, the basic starting point is the observation that we all want happiness and we want to suffer. But the content of our experience, whether it be suffering or happiness, is actually determined by our own minds. Right? Hence, within the three world spheres, this means in all of samsaric existence, there's nothing to fear except our minds. Okay? So then, what Dharma is, right? Dharma, in this context, has the connotation of what holds one back, right? What holds one back. And, what holds ourselves back from suffering is to apply the Dharma methods that then help us subdue our minds. Subdue our minds means, the negative emotions, the negative states of mind, like anger, jealousy, pride, attachment, and so forth, right? These negative states of mind kind of compel us into undertaking negative actions. When we get angry, we kill. When we have strong attachment, we steal. We cheat on our wives. Right? Okay? Then, through those negative actions, or negative karma being action, right? Those then deposit seeds, one could think, within our mental continuum that will then later ripen or manifest as suffering events, experiences of suffering. Right? So, if we don't want to have the consequences or the effects of suffering, we then need to be very diligent in not creating the causes, negative actions. Right? Which is why, probably one of the most famous stanzas within all of what the Buddha said is that to do not commit a single negative action, to commit perfect, pure actions, to thoroughly subdue one's own mind. This is the teaching of Buddha. Right? So the first two lines within that stanza teach and explicate on this thought of karma, which we've all heard about, maybe we can talk about a little bit. But basically, it's that our experiences of either happiness or suffering come from actions that we ourselves have done in the past. So just as if we don't want the negative effect of suffering, we need to be diligent in abandoning the cause of non-virtue if we want to experience happiness. Then we also have to be very diligent in accumulating the causes for happiness, which are positive actions. Right? And since the primary determining factor of whether an action is positive or negative is the mind, the mental state with which we undertake that action, then to subdue the mind then means to, when these negative these negative emotions arise within the mind, to be able to apply antidotes so that they then dissipate, right? And to undertake some sort of training where the positive states of mind, like love, compassion, generosity, patience, and so forth, we try to build a constructive habit whereby these positive states of mind can arise more readily. When they arise, they last for longer, they become stronger, and then we can eventually get to a point where, we abandon all the negative states of mind completely, such that they never occur again. And then we can also cultivate the positive states of mind so that they arise more frequently, stronger, and last for longer periods of time. Okay? And so the Dharma just is those methods, right, by which we either subdue our negative states of mind or cultivate positive states of mind. That's it. Okay? And, why do we need to practice Dharma? Because, just like that guy, we want to be happy and we don't want to suffer. Okay? Now, even something like coming to this lecture tonight, I usually say, and I usually say this right at the beginning, that it's still kind of the beginning, but you should have as your motivation for coming this thought, that I want to be happy, I don't want to suffer, therefore I want to learn about the methods by which I can transform my mind so that I can experience a deep sense of lasting peace and happiness. That is not dependent on external phenomena like motorbikes. Okay? But even not just that, then also think, as we learn these methods, as we become more proficient in them, then we'll be also in a position where we can teach others how to do the same. Teach others how to subdue their own minds and lead them to lasting happiness. Then of course, I was saying, eventually we can get to a point where we have totally abandoned all the negative states of mind, such that they don't occur again, it's impossible for them to arise again. That actually is the state of nirvana, which, as good as that is, there's something even better, and that is not only abandoning all of the negative states of mind, but fully developing all of our positive states of mind. Well, that state is the state of Buddha, full enlightenment. And that is something that we can all achieve. And, we can achieve it because basically we have a mind that's not enlightened. You understand? We have a mind that's not enlightened. Therefore, we can become enlightened. Amazing. That is the fundamental, reason. The internal cause, we have everything. And unenlightened is. Now, wow. And everyone with an unenlightened mind, even the mosquitoes flying, even the rats in the empty lot next door, right? All have that internal condition. But all of us here, we have, something even more precious, more amazing. We have the rest of the kind of external conditions means that the methods that so turn to page 2. Stanza 10. Okay? It is like the supreme gold-making elixir, for it transforms the unclean body you have taken into the priceless jewel of the Buddha form. Therefore, firmly seize this awakening body. Okay, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But, when we talked about becoming Buddha, right? Okay. So, yes, everyone that has a mind that's not yet enlightened has the potential to become enlightened. Yes, okay, fine. But before that potential can be awakened, they need this one, the awakening mind. Okay? Means the wish, right? The intention, the motivation to attain enlightenment. Right? Because it doesn't just happen accidentally. It just doesn't happen at random. But it requires a great deal of effort from our side to cultivate this potential to transform our minds. So with anything that requires effort, that doesn't just happen accidentally, you need to first, right, think, have that thought. Oh, yeah, you know what? I want to become enlightened. I want to perfect myself. Not just that, but think for the benefit of all sentient beings. I want to become enlightened, so I can be of utmost benefit to them. Okay? So, since that actually is the primary cause to attain enlightenment, that one, unfortunately, mosquitoes and the rat next door don't have. You understand? Now, many of us, we don't have that really. The real one, the one that arises spontaneously, naturally, all the time.
What?
What's that?
What?
Bodhicitta.
That arises spontaneously.
The uncontrived bodhicitta. Right? You guys understand contrived versus uncontrived? Contrived is, we can kind of, with some effort, thinking in some way, we can generate the thought. And maybe when I said those words, you thought, oh yeah, I'd like to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all human beings. Yeah? Contrived.
Yeah, but the awakening mind cannot have the uncontrived bodhicitta. The awakening mind. The mind that first decides to.
No, stop it. You have to understand. Actually, the awakening mind is bodhicitta.
The mere desire to attain Buddhahood is bodhicitta?
Well, for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Yes, that's Buddhahood.
Okay, so hold on.
So then even I am bodhicitta.
No, ayo. We're talking, there's the two, right? There's the contrived bodhicitta. So this is what I was distinguishing. If we, with some effort, with some kind of thought, we can develop that wish. Yes, I want to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. But that is like what they say. I think there's too much reverb on this too. But that's like the, remember our analogy of the sugarcane juice, right? You put in those cane, the stalks through the press, right? You get the juice. But the stalks that we throw away, there's still some sweetness. You look on, and there's all of the flies that come. And they eat. Yeah, they want that. Right? So there's some sweetness there. Right? So, that's not the juice. Okay? So what we have, the contrived form of bodhicitta is like those thrown away stalks. It's sweet. It's okay. Flies are very happy when they get it. But it's not the real juice. So that real juice is the uncontrived form of bodhicitta that arises naturally, spontaneously, not having to think, okay, what about this, blah, 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 blah. It's the spontaneous one. Okay? And that, well, maybe some of you have. I don't know. But you check. That's not for me to say. Okay? That's the one that we need. But, you see, what I'm saying is we're talking about to attain enlightenment, what is needed, what are the ingredients? We have one ingredient. All living beings who are not yet enlightened have the fundamental ingredient, which is an unenlightened mind. But on top of that, we need this mind of bodhicitta. Actually, we need the real one. But we don't have that yet. But through a process of training, we can develop that one. And then through repeated familiarization with the contrived one, with the artificial one, it will become natural. So, to get that one, we need access to and interest in the teachings that explain step by step how to develop that. Okay? Now, the most unbelievable, precious thing is actually we have access, and many of you, I'm just assuming since you came here, you at least have some interest in developing your mind in this way. And that's what the rats and mosquitoes don't have. So now, we have all of the external conditions and the internal conditions whereby we can attain the full state of enlightenment in this life. If not, we can at least attain, the uncontrived form of the awakening mind, that bodhicitta, whereby, we become bodhisattvas. Then, see, once we have that uncontrived form,
So, Venerable, what are the three external and three internal conditions?
So, something. I don't know if I don't know if I used the word 3. There's many more. It's not just 3. But the primary, I mean, we could call it the substantial cause, right? You know, like the substantial cause of a sprout is the seed. That means the actual substance that turns into the sprout is the seed, right? So the substantial cause of the enlightened mind of the Buddha is the unenlightened mind of the sentient being. That's what's going to come. But remember, the supreme gold-making elixir that transforms the unclean body that we've taken into the crisis form of the Buddha is the mind of Bodhicitta. Okay?
So that's one.
So, yeah, but we don't have that one yet. But we have, you know, and we were talking about this yesterday, right? Okay. A, stanza 4 in the first chapter, right? Leisure and endowment are very hard to find. And since they accomplish what is meaningful for humanity, if I do not take advantage of them now, how will such a perfect opportunity come about again? This is what we talked about last night. Missed you, Sanket. I missed you.
Sorry.
Okay? So actually, this leisure and endowment is referring to 18 actually factors that we have. You know? And you know, if we get into it, so it's basically
So these are the external terms.
But hold on, some are external and some are internal. If you go through those 18 factors.
Okay.
The external ones is like, you know, to have access to these teachings that show you step by step how to attain bodhicitta. Then after you attain bodhicitta, how you train to collect the causes for enlightenment. Right? For that, you need a Buddha to have appeared. You need a Buddha to have taught. You need those teachings to still remain in the world. You need, you know, teachers that can explain to you. You need other supporters that can, you know, when you go on retreat, cook food for you, or whatever, right? So there's some external conditions. But then there's also the internal conditions about having a human body, about having a sound mind that works, that can understand teachings, you know? That you haven't accumulated such heavy negative karma, like killing your parents, for example, you know? That you don't have very strong wrong views, like, hey, past and future lives don't exist, enlightenment doesn't exist, you know? Yeah? And that you have kind of faith, well, you are confidence that, oh yes, these teachings, it makes sense. If I follow and train myself in this way, it will be very meaningful for my life. Therefore, I'm going to do it. Right? Right? So that's what you need. You know, there's 18 of these such factors. Some are external, some are internal. But all of you, wow, you have all those factors. Hello? Yes? So what I was saying yesterday, you know, the type of life you have is so precious. Every day, every hour, every minute, every second, being in this body, the fact that you have this, you know, mental, physical continuum like this is the most precious thing. You know, and hey, by the way, very hard to find. You know, you look in the world, even today, and there might be many billions of humans, but very few of them have the kind of opportunity that you all have. You understand? I mean, I said this kind of as a joke, but it's true. If we go out after this, you know, how many people, oh, it's Saturday night, oh, great, no work, you know? And remember, we all want happiness, we don't want to suffer, but what are other people doing to gain that happiness? They're going out for happy hour. Right?
No, this time is unhappy. Happy also.
That's what they call it. They call it at the restaurant. I know it's not really happy hour, but that's what they think. You know? Buy one, get one free drinks. Wow! You know? Then all their energy directed on the outside. When? Oi! We talked about this also last night, but it's very nice. See, we'll turn to page 36. Stanza 17. You see, even those who wish to find happiness and overcome misery will wander with no aim nor meaning if they do not comprehend the secret of the mind, the paramount significance of Dharma. Dilshad, hey, do you know what the word paramount means? Paramount. You don't know. Shibira. Paramount. Huge? Okay. Means like most important. Yes. The most important. Okay? So, hey, and I'm not putting down these people who are going to happy hour, by the way. But, you see, yes. Oh, actually in the first chapter 2, talks about this, right? Turn to page 5, 28. Stanza 28, right? Although wishing to be rid of misery, they run toward misery itself. Although wishing to have happiness like an enemy, they ignorantly destroy it. Right? Sorry, basically, I said all these things yesterday, but a little bit shorter today. Right? So you understand. You know, remember, the starting point, all of us want happiness, no one wants suffering. But without understanding where happiness and suffering come from, which is, by the way, not comprehending the secret of the mind. The secret of the mind means, actually, karma for starters. That our own happiness and suffering are coming from actions that we ourselves do. Our happiness isn't coming from the lager here, or whatever. Right? It's coming from mind. But no one even thinks about it like this. Right? And therefore, they call it the happy hour. They think the happiness is coming from the drinks. And, since the happiness is coming from the drink, in this hour where, I can buy one and get one free, it means double happiness. Right? And that's how many people just spend all their lives. Means, actually, by the way. Wander with no aim nor meaning. So this is not to put them down. Actually, if you think about it well, then even more compassion should arise for them. Right? It's like so close, so close. They have, of those, we talk about the 18 factors for precious human rebirth. They have maybe 16. Maybe some people have 17. But they don't have all 18. And therefore, their lives will go by completely empty of meaning. So now, what that all means, and I was giving this as actually the main thing last night, the pep talk. What that means is now each one of us, it becomes that much more important. Our own practice, our own development. You understand? You can't leave it for someone else. Yeah. mean, makes our practice, that much more important because so few people are doing it in the world. You understand? So then what to do? That's why you see this book, right? A guide to a bodhisattva's way of life. Very nice. Right? What do we have to do? Everything that's in this book. You understand? This gives us a guide. As I said, right? As I say most times, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, right? Janchu Sempe Chupala Chupa, right? So, the Bodhisattva is the one who's not yet a Buddha, right? But is interested in Bodhi, interested in enlightenment. So really the real one is the one that has the uncontrived Bodhicitta, that altruistic wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. That's what we call Bodhicitta. Citta means mind. Yes, Bodhi, enlightenment, the mind which altruistically aspires for enlightenment. But as great as that mind is, that's still just in the wishing form. What they actually have to do then is accumulate the causes that will lead to enlightenment. So they basically have to train to accumulate those causes. So those then trainings are completely explicated in this text. So that's why then, if we're interested in enlightenment, then we have to learn about the trainings that lead to enlightenment. And therefore, we have to study this text. And others. But this one. Actually, if you just do everything in this text, you can almost become enlightened. A few other things you need to know, but we'll talk about that later. Okay? But you'll be quite okay. Okay? Alright? Alright. So that's sufficiently different from last night, right? Yet sufficiently similar. Because actually, since I was, quite happy with the content last night, it's not that I can just, abandon everything I said last night and come up with something new, right? These points we have to emphasize again and again. The purpose of Dharma, what Dharma is, why do we come and study this stuff? We always have to keep that in mind. Otherwise it becomes like, and I think some people, I don't know what other people's motivation are, but it's kind of like, they're bored in their life, right? They're bored, and they want some kind of intellectual stimulation, right? So people join a book club, right? But then it's like, oh no, but not just some regular book club, but it's about Buddhism, which is now very chic, right? So then people come here, maybe, I don't know, but they treat it like they're kind of a little bit more a book club that they feel a little bit better about themselves. I don't know, right? But fundamentally, they might come to class, but I don't know what they do the rest of the week. You understand? So then, it's like, it's like a hobby. A hobby? Hobby? Wait. The shot. Hobby. You know, you understand? So, I mean, with anything in life, right, what you're going to get out of something is determined by what you put into it, right? So, of course, even if you're coming here as a hobby, you know, you come on Saturday night instead of going to happy hour, it's good. It's good. But, and so we went into some great detail. It's, you know, in the Buddhist cosmology, the mind is beginningless. That means the number of rebirths that you've had is, you know, infinite, countless in number. And by the way, that means your samsara, this uncontrolled cycle of rebirth, also has no beginning. Okay? And I did a little bit, like, almost guiding a meditation yesterday, where when you really think about it, then you should be on the verge of vomiting. Hello? Being serious. When you think about all the suffering that you've experienced since beginningless time, all the problems you've had in this life, you've experienced countless times since beginningless rebirth. But even worse than that is if we don't get liberation in this life, then the amount of suffering we're going to experience in the future will be also endless, which means at some point more than what we experienced in beginningless time. Then we have that much more to, well, look forward to. So now, you see, Shantideva says, I'm not going to find the page, but you know, now that we've found this precious boat of human existence, the precious one, with the 18 qualities, you know, Shantideva is urging us to use it to cross the great river of suffering. It means samsara. He says, this type of boat will not be easily found again. There's no time for sleep. You fool. So anyway, now is the time. Now is the life. And by the way, not only this life, but since death can come at any time, there's also no room for procrastination. We're thinking, you know, I'm going to go get married, make my parents happy, then I'll have some children, make my parents happy, then I'll, you know, after my children are off in university, then I'll practice Dharma. Huh? Should be that. No way. Death can come at any time. Before all the plans we have, before all those things, I'll practice Dharma after, and then we fill in the blank, right? Death can come any time. So the time to practice Dharma is not only this life, but it's now. It's now. Yeah? Both for yourself and then for all sentient beings. All those sentient beings who you're going to lead to enlightenment after you become enlightened. Yes? Okay, anyway. But the good news is, we're here today. We have this text in front of us. So let's see what Shantideva is saying. Okay? So, we're on the 5th chapter. And, well, let's just look at the first stanza of the 5th chapter. We're actually on stanza 54, but first turn to page 34, stanza 1. Okay? This is kind of the summary of the chapter. It's actually the summary of Buddha Dharma. Okay? So those who wish to guard their practice should very attentively guard their minds. For those who do not guard their minds will be unable to guard their practice. One more to say, right? Remember we were talking? The whole point of Dharma is to subdue the mind, right? So, if we want to subdue the mind, we have to watch the mind. See what's going on, right? Then, when negative emotions are arising, apply the antidotes. That's the fundamental practice. It's not like, okay, now I meditate, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, then the rest of the day, whatever. Right? Like we think our Dharma practice is on some cushion. You sit like this, now I'm practicing Dharma. Okay, I've done my Dharma practice for the day. Now I'm going to go to work. No way. This is the practice. Always watching the mind. Seeing what's going on. Right? When there's negative emotions, apply the antidotes. But then, so in this chapter, Shantideva is talking about and he gives us a very beautiful other analogy. You see? Just turn to, page 36, right? Where, stanza 13, where would I possibly find enough leather with which to cover the surface of the earth? Yet wearing leather on the soles of my shoes is equivalent to covering the earth with it. Amazing. You understand the analogy? Right? Outside, the ground, all these stones, thorns, right? We don't want to experience that. So we could either cover the whole earth with leather, but where could we find so much leather? But if we just have leather sandals, same, right? So then, that's the analogy. Then, stanza 14. Likewise, it is not possible for me to restrain the external course of things, but should I restrain this mind of mine, what would be the need to restrain all else? You remember that one? Okay? So then Shantideva goes into this, before actually we become very proficient in applying the antidotes to our mind, then what do? Although the affliction arises in the mind, we don't have to act on it. And therefore, he goes through all these situations where we remain like a piece of wood. You understand? Remain like a piece of wood means then are pieces of wood, you know, talking and criticizing others? No. Are they harming others? No. Right? So, of course, better if anger arises to be able to diffuse the anger. But we can't do that right away. So then, even if anger is in the mind, to remain like a piece of wood and not do something with our body and speech that will harm others. It's enough. I mean, for now. Okay?
We can take a piece of wood as an analogy for floating on the turbulent waters and then not sinking.
I mean, yes, you can think of it that way, but yeah, the preferred. I mean, yeah, what it means is just to like zip your lip, keep your hands to yourself, not do anything when the mind is disturbed, right? Not act on those disturbing emotions. Okay? Alright. Okay. So, here, well, we're actually on text, and now we're getting to... Yes?
I was just quickly eyeing through the various stanzas, and for some reason, some of the paras are a bit, for example, okay, I need to articulate what exactly I'm feeling. See, when I read this, who intentionally created all the weapons for those in hell? Who created the burning iron drum? From where did all the women in hell ensue?
Yeah.
Alright, number 7. And then, 21. I behave in such a way as this, then whether among harmful people or even the midst of women, the steady effort to control myself will not decline. See, as a woman, when I'm reading this,
Yeah.
I feel very isolated.
Yes.
What should I do about this?
Okay, thank you. This comes up often. Okay. So you have to understand, right, the context. So Shantideva gave this, and his audience was all monastics, monks, males. Okay? So for you, just change to whatever you like. I mean, if men are a problem for you, no problem. No, I mean, you know, right? No, the context, he's talking to an audience of all men. Monks who had taken a vow of celibacy, and so their thing that they're working on is, you know, I mean, desire, sexual desire toward women. So then he spoke like that.
But do we have a parallel teaching conducted by a woman for women? I'm just always having conflict with all the organized religions because of this factor. I'm just putting up my thoughts. I'm not attacking because I feel very, very isolated. When women are portrayed like this in almost all the scriptures. And
Yeah.
almost all the scriptures tend to speak of man's problems. I'm not a feminist, let me first make it clear. Just that I'm a soul in a woman's body.
Yeah.
And in that context, when I read scriptures in which women are being told as the object of desire, seduction, etc., it kind of hurts me.
Hmm?
Why does it hurt you?
Well, okay.
It would hurt me if someone called me an object of desire. No, that would hurt me. It's a great
No, because you are
compliment.
projected as, a source of distraction
That's
for someone else.
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it creates a distance in your head to continue reading the scripture. Just voice it out.
Yeah. So, what to say?
baby out in the bath water.
Sorry?
So first of all, okay, yeah, I agree. And when you look at the history of the world, then this whole kind of women's rights, women like liberation movement, feminism is a new phenomenon. It's very new in the world. Now, probably the first feminist I can think of is Tara, the Aryatara, who, and this is many, many eons ago, it says in the scriptures, right? So the story is, it's like this. So there's a princess. Now, at a certain point on the path, one is then able to direct one's rebirth, and choose exactly what kind of rebirth one wants, even before enlightenment. Okay? So this princess reached that level where she could then direct her next rebirth. And her kind of teachers, advisors, who are all male, said, okay, great job, you've reached this part, now you can direct your next rebirth so you can be a man. Tara, she wasn't buying it, in modern times she would, do this. She said, right? I'm not gonna, not only am I not gonna pray to be reborn again. Instead, I'm going to pray that I'm always reborn as a woman. And even after I'm enlightened, I will always appear in the form of a woman, so that, and guide and lead human beings in that way. So I agree with you and Tara. Maybe you're Tara, I don't know. But it's very true. Half the world is women, and they do need to have, iconography of female-like forms. They need to have, texts and teachings that, address them. But unfortunately, up until very recently, yes, they didn't have, I didn't say this, they didn't have the level of opportunities for study and practice that men had. Okay? So then, this was 8th century, can you imagine? Even some of the women students who are coming today, 2019, how much pressure they're getting from their parents. They want to become a nun. The parents say, no, you have to get married. Where are my grandkids? This is in 2019, right? So then you're talking about the time of ancient Nalanda University. Where were the nuns? Yeah, there weren't any. There's a few examples. Bhikshuni Kalmo, who's the lineage guru in the Lumne lineage of Chenrezig practice. You know, there are a few very stellar examples, but they're very rare. I agree with you.
But they are actually Karma's teachings. It's a Dharasa scripture.
So that's the other thing. You know, unfortunately, okay. She then passed on the initiation of Alertness, and the initiation of Alertness that you know, many of us have received from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. She is in the lineage gurus of that. But where are her books? Unfortunately, you know, many teachings in general were just orally transmitted. So very few actually made its paper. And then even of the ones that made its paper, you know, they burned, the Nalanda's monastery was burned down. It took 6 months to burn. So many of the teachings don't exist at all. And those fires weren't discriminating male and female scriptures. Okay?
But hopefully in the future we might have those versions on this one as well.
And you will wreck them.
Let's see.
No. You will wreck them. I mean, no. Otherwise, what's happening, right? Then we form a women's coalition. There should be women's scriptures. Then, I'm doing my best to teach you, right? Then I say to the women's coalition, okay, now it's your time to write the treatises. Oh no. Right? Then the next generation comes. Where's all the women's scriptures? Then if I come back, I'll say, I urged Bodhicitta, they'll have this recorded. I urged her to write one, and she said, well, if it's meant to be. Huh? Maybe there's a nun in Shantideva's time that was, you know, it was there, and then, so we have this great text from Shantideva, but in future generations, maybe some women will feel a little bit excluded. And then that nun said, well, maybe I'll write one if it's meant to be. Didn't write one. What do you think? So part of the thing, actually, that I'm trying to instill in you also is it's not like, oh yeah, it's okay. Yes, there should be women's scriptures, but I don't have to write them. Yes, all sentient beings should be liberated from samsara, but, you know, there's countless other Buddhas, they're going to do that one. You know? No. Each one of us individually, that's what I'm saying. It's so important, everything that we do. You know?
I'll think about it. I'm not giving my work because I have to be very careful what I articulate. If I say I will become a nun, and if I don't become a nun, that's going to be very tricky.
That's true. That's true. So good, yes. Don't jump into it. Don't sign on the dotted line yet. But, you understand
Yes.
my way of answering?
Yes. Thank you.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. You know? But how it's going to be done, how the situation is going to change, okay, it's true. I agree. It's not nice, the history, when you look at it. You know, you say you're not a feminist. I am a feminist. Okay? And I'm very happy that now women are getting the same level of education opportunities, and opportunities to practice, opportunities to get realization that have been denied for centuries for them. But now it's up to them. You know? Are they going to make use of it? You know?
I have a question.
Mm.
So how did the body of address this discrimination then? Or they even, so we are talking of the practice.
Yeah.
So in the idea of practice, how was it even embedded that there is this gender, there is this women who are also there, but never ever even considered? How is that
You see,
precedence here?
yeah. And this again is, I mean, now, you know, we're looking from the vantage point of 2018, 2019, where we're, you know, kind of a woke society, right? And then we look back at these old things and, you know, it was institutionalized sexism, institutionalized, you know, casteism, racism, all this stuff. Right? So we also have to be careful as you know, that we can't, you know, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And we can't kind of, let's be careful to hold them to the standards that we have today. Right? But, you know, even on a larger scale, right, and this was a fault, and one of the things that actually led to the decline of Indian Buddhism is that there was, actually, one of the faults about Tibetan society, even, which is only starting to change now through the kindness of the Dalai Lama, right, is that even Dharma study, Dharma practice was largely confined to the monastery. You know? And forget about women. I mean, even lay men had no understanding. Very little practice was done. They would maybe, you know, go to the monastery, make some offerings, offer food. But maybe call themselves Buddhists. But did they even, you know, read a text like this? No way. Only very, very recently that even education among lay people has come about in the world. You know? So that said, yeah. See, maybe I'll say this now. It's important to say. You know, there's a kind of adage, a kind of saying that we should use the Dharma like a mirror. Means the mirror we use to clean our own face or shave our own mustache, right? It's about us. So when we see this in the text, oh, he's degrading women, blah, blah, you know. Yes, maybe we can talk like that, but does that in and of itself bring us any closer to enlightenment? I don't think so, actually. Enlightenment is about purifying our own mind. You know? So, of course, to a certain extent, to just have thought, like Tata had, you know, thinking, you know, and aspiring that I always will take a female form, even after I'm enlightened, you know, like this. The motivation is so it can be inspiring for women, you know? And in my opinion, I mean, let me put it this way, it's even nicer way. Even like, you know, want to see some change in the world, and I'm all about bringing about social change and having, creating an enlightened society and all that. But even something like, protests against war, right? You saw in the Iraq War, whatever, there's some protests that turned violent. Okay? Was that really bringing about the change they wanted to see in the world? Not sure. So even if we do have, as an individual, as a center, as a community, as a society, we have certain goals to create a more, inclusive society that respects and gives women the respect they deserve. There still is the question about how then to most skillfully bring about that change. And I'm not sure that calling Shantideva a male chauvinist is the most effective way to do. Okay? So, just kind of have a little bit big picture in mind. It is 7:45.
Sorry, I have to ask that, so in case if others also have similar thoughts.
It's okay, it's okay. It's important, and in this bonus we'll talk about that briefly. Okay. I've already bought my train ticket for tomorrow. If I hadn't, I would have thought we should do another session tomorrow morning.
You can still do it. Cancel the ticket and
Cancel the ticket. I'll lose 60 rupees.
Sponsor, done. Cancel it.
Huh? Can you all come tomorrow? At 10? Huh?
yes,
Huh? No. Go home.
You want us to ask you 3 times?
on your knees, right knee.
Okay. Anyway, let's see. Let's see. Okay, so on page 43, stanza number 54. Okay? So, there is this text. Oh, we have there's a commentary on Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra that, does people have this?
If they want, some people have bought it. You can
Ah.
buy it. 700 rupees.
Wow.
It's a commentary on this book.
So,
this is the outline from the commentary. Same commentary. This is the titles.
Yeah. So actually, you see, we're here on the we're here now. 54 is a summary, right? Having in this way examined their minds for disturbing conceptions and for thoughts that strive for meaningless things, the courageous bodhisattvas should hold their minds steady through the application of remedial forces. Okay? So this is actually, again, the summary of what we have to do. Constantly examining our mind, and then hold our mind steady through the application of remedial forces. Okay. So then, next, we're starting another section where Yosef J in the commentary says it's protecting the training of the mind from degeneration. Okay? And then there's three things we do here. We protect with individual antidotes, common antidotes, and the way of training and meditating on the antidote. Okay? Alright. So here are the individual antidotes, which is in 55 and 56. Being very resolute and faithful, steady, respectful, polite, with a sense of shame, apprehensive and peaceful, I should strive to make others happy. I should not be disheartened by all the whims of the childish who are in discord with one another. I should know these to arise in their mind through disturbing conceptions, and therefore be kind towards them. Okay. Right? So being very resolute. So here in the commentary it says, like, the points of advice in the training, right? We need to gain kind of conviction that abandons doubt and wrong consciousness, right? Then once we have that kind of mind, we become very resolute, steadfast, strong, that even others come to us and say, oh, come on, why are you going to that center? It's happy hour, Then they can't convince us otherwise, right? So faithful, right? Now here, faithful is not blind faith, okay? It's the faith that comes, it's more like a conviction that comes through properly ascertaining the points of the teaching, right? Then when we see the truth of the teachings for ourselves, through reasoning and analysis, then very strong faith will come. Okay? And here he talks about, especially, faith in the three jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Yeah? Okay. Steady. So steady means, having stability in our practice. Means not like most of us being very, patchy, where we might, get inspired, go on retreat, 10 days, and then I don't see you for months. I know you moved to Hyderabad, it's okay. But I'm just saying in general, right? So even, like the Buddha says, that even a big pot, is gradually filled by drops of water, So whatever we can do, even in small ways, consistent effort will gradually fill our pots, right? Respectful. This means, respectful and polite. Here, then, Joseph J is saying, that means what helps with this is to be humble with everyone. So as it says in the 8 verses of mind training by Geshe Lamri Kampa, it says, when I'm in the company of all, when I'm in the company of others, I shall hold myself the lowest of all. And from the bottom of my heart, hold others as dear and supreme. So this mind of pride is actually one of the biggest obstacles for our practice in benefiting others. Why? Because the mind of pride then holds us to be higher than others. When we hold ourselves to be higher than others, then even we see others suffering, then it's like, oh well, they deserve that. I'm so good, I'm so smart, I'm so hardworking, therefore I deserve to have more material resources than others. And this, beggar who's knocking on my window, they're lazy, they're, somehow undeserving of the riches I have, and they deserve to be poor. Therefore I'm not going to help them. You think like that? Okay? With a sense of shame. Okay? So here, there's 2 words you'll see. Shame means, it's not a very good word, does not have a good connotation. But what it means is, if we're about to engage in some negative action, let's say myself, then to think, hey, I'm a monk, doing this is inappropriate behavior from who I am and the values I have. Okay? That's what it's talked about, the sense of shame. Okay? So whatever kind of ideals, values we hold for ourselves, it's to think before we engage in a negative action, to think basically that's not compatible, that's not in accordance to who I am and how I want to live my life. Okay? Now there's another word, embarrassment, that usually comes, and it's the flip side of shame. But that means in relation to others. Means if we're about to engage in some negative action, think, oh, you know what, my guru, like the Dalai Lama, if he heard about me engaging in such behavior, he wouldn't like. So, since I don't want to displease him, I'm not going to engage in this behavior. Okay? But the point is, right, remember we were saying, we're always looking at our minds, and these are the common antidotes for us, to stop engaging in negative behavior. So even sometimes the kind of, social peer pressure even, you can call it, right? Where we either think this is not, good for me, just who I want to be, or to think, my gurus would be disappointed. Yeah? Then that can help us, refrain from these negative actions. And that is good, right?
Can you explain shame again?
That means our own sense of self, our values. Then, before we're engaging in a negative action, to think, like I said, right? Oh, it's not good for me to do this. I'm a monk. I've said I'm working for the benefit of all sentient beings. I said I'm, trying to live my life with these values. Therefore, to criticize, to yell at this person, it's not good. And then, refraining. It's not like, oh, it's not good that I do this, but no one else is watching. Okay? Afraid. So apprehensive. Okay? that means, here in the other translation, they translate it as having fear, apprehensive, right? That means thinking, well, wait a minute, if I engage in this negative behavior, I'm going to experience suffering results in the future. And therefore, it's not doing it. Okay? Peaceful means having pacified senses, not being easily excited, you know, towards objects of attachment that we get, advertising. But rather, okay, it's okay, I don't need, and then striving to please others, right? So this is, again, remember, the Bodhisattva wishing for enlightenment for all sentient beings, therefore wishes all sentient beings to be happy. Now, this hopefully is in a wholesome way, right? So it's not like, you want to make someone happy, so you go to happy hour with them and invite them for one drinks, okay? Right? Wholesome way means, even you don't have to, now you go home and you start quoting Shantideva verses to them. But just in a wholesome way, trying to help them live more meaningful lives, in whatever way, small ways you can. Yeah? But of course, if there is some wholesome thing you can do that will make others happy, by all means do it. Okay. So now the next one. I should not be disheartened by all the whims of the childish who are in discord with one another. So, there's actually a big problem these days. Because there's so much childish people who are constantly bickering with each other. So this is also something that can lead us to then want to quit benefiting others. Right? Even I experience this from time to time. Where it's like, you feel like what you do doesn't have impact. Right? So then you just forget about it. Right? Happens. So don't be disheartened by it. Okay? So how then you combat this? Instead of being disheartened, you have compassion. Thinking that, they're just behaving in that way because they have afflictions in their minds. And then think, okay, so it's up to me to liberate them from their afflictions. Okay? Then here, actually, Yosef J, the author of the commentary, he brings up a very nice quotation from the 400 stanzas by Alertness. He says, like the treating physician that does not get disturbed despite aggression, the able one sees the afflictions. There is no person without afflictions. Anyway, so like a doctor in a mental ward, a crazy patient might even try to harm the doctor. But the doctor wouldn't get angry, saying, oh no, they're just crazy, the afflictions. So actually, on a very fundamental level, what the Buddha is saying to us, actually all of our afflictions is a form of craziness. Right? When we get angry, that's a kind of craziness. When we have, uncontrolled desire and lust, that's crazy. It's mentally ill. So rather than getting angry at the person, treat them like a doctor. Right? Or as they say, Christians say, right? Hate the sin, love the sinner. Right? So then, if you really think like that, only compassion can arise. Okay. So then, next is the common antidote. In doing that which by nature is not unwholesome, both for the sake of myself and other sentient beings, I shall always hold my mind fast, acting like an aberration, with no sense of self. Aberration? Hello? Aberration? Kind of like a ghost, you know? Like a, not real, you know? But like an emanation, like a magician conjuring something. It appears, you know, appears that there's an elephant, but there's no elephant, like that. Okay. Okay. So that which by nature is not unwholesome. You guys understand that? So we have unwholesome actions that are unwholesome because of the presence of a vow, and actions that are unwholesome because of the nature of the action. Okay? So for example, for myself, being a monk, then I have a vow, you know, not to wear jeans, right? Or a kurta for that. Okay? So that, for me, is a wrong action because of the presence of my vows. But it's not an action that is, you know, unwholesome by nature. Wearing jeans, that's neutral, right? Singing, well, it's neutral. Well, not for. I can't sing like rock songs. I can chant. That's okay.
I'm not becoming a nun.
You see, now, I told you I was a professional musician. I was a singer. One of the things that actually made my mom most sad is this, that she wouldn't be able to hear me singing. Understand? But I tell you, remember, Shanti, when I sang, you know, before the show, hours before we would do the sound check? So the thing is actually, couple things. One, yes, singing, you know, music, it can bring some happiness to others. But, why are some people suffering? It's not because they don't have access to songs, right? Otherwise, Buddha would have invented Spotify, and then, you know, we all get enlightened, right? The real thing is, you know, we were talking about the secrets of the mind. Even the beings that want happiness, right? They'll you know, live aimlessly and without purpose if they don't understand the secret of the mind, the paramount significance of Dharma. It means the thought of karma and the ultimate nature of the mind, shunyata. Okay? So, now, we understand that. Most important thing for you, if you want to liberate sentient beings from their suffering, is teach them, help them realize emptiness. Okay? For you to do that very skillfully, you need to understand, realize emptiness yourself. It's not easy. It's not easy. Now, when you're a professional musician, it takes hours rehearsing. You get your band together, you rehearse some more together. You have the show, you have the sound check, you have all this work to book the shows. All in all, it's not bad, but it's time consuming. It's time consuming. Means time that you could be spending realizing emptiness. Okay? So some of the monastic vows, it's like that. I mean, I said this, about many sense pleasures, right? It's not that they're bad in them themselves. The real problem is they're so damn time consuming. You understand? So when one, and I'm not talking monk, nun, monastic, non-monastic. At a certain point, when you really understand this about Dharma, the fact that you have a precious human rebirth, right? Remember, Shantideva is saying there's no time for sleep, right? If we really understand this once in a, not even once in a lifetime, once in samsara, actually, the type of rebirth you have now, I almost guarantee, in terms of you getting enlightened, is that this is your best chance you've had since beginning the samsara rebirth. So as I often say, the great Indian masters would talk about, the island of wish-fulfilling jewels, right? Wish-fulfilling jewels like Aladdin's lamp. You rub it, you get what you wish for. So apparently, in the ancient legends, there are these islands where the wish-fulfilling jewels are. So they would say, to get a precious human rebirth, and not to at least attain one of the great purposes, Dharma purposes of life, is more foolish than returning empty-handed from the island of wish-granting jewels. Okay? So now let's say, I've said this before, but let's say you arrived at the island of wish-granting jewels. Where instead of sand, the whole beach is littered with these wish-fulfilling jewels. Okay? What would you do? You stuff as many jewels as you can into your pockets, into your bag. Okay? Now let's say you see a volleyball net. Right? Let's say you see a beach bar that are serving virgin pina coladas. Let's say, I'm from Hawaii too, right? Let's say there's some nice waves breaking on the shore. Okay? Now, for someone with a little bit of intelligence, would you need to take a vow not to go surfing? Would you need to take a vow not to play beach volleyball or not to even drink a virgin pina colada? No way. It just becomes clear. I gotta stuff as many jewels as I can. Knowing that I don't know how much longer I have on this island of wish-fulfilling jewels, and by the way, I might not ever come back here again. I'm in a position where I could alleviate the poverty of everyone back in my town, in my country, in the world. So, for the intelligent person, no vows are needed. When the Buddha first established a monastic, sangha, there were no vows. Then later, monks were misbehaving, wasting time, not taking advantage. Then the Buddha made the vows. But actually, with a little bit of intelligence, I don't think any vows are needed. Actually, with a little bit of intelligence and a little bit of Dharma knowledge, it becomes totally clear what you have to accomplish in this life. And I'll say this to you, okay? If, I'm sorry to say it, but if becoming a professional musician was the way to alleviate the suffering of all living beings, Buddha would have taught singing. You understand? But even forgetting all that, many of you, I'll say this, don't say, I'm not going to become a monk, I'm not going to become a monastic. Even if you don't, you should have it as the aspiration, but then say, I really want to become a monk, I want to become a nun. You say, I want to become enlightened, right? I want to liberate all sentient beings from suffering, right? So then you should have as aspiration, I want to give up all the worldly affairs of this life and devote myself purely to the training. That should be an aspiration. Then, if you're not in the situation where you're able to do that, don't say, I'm not going to do it. Say, I want to do it, but, I have too much attachment. I have this. I'm not able to do it now. Okay? Because see, it's karma too, right? Even if not in this life, if you just have a kind of liking, if you have a positive association with becoming a monastic, I'll tell you, you're creating the cause to become a monastic. Maybe not even in this life, but later. We're talking about the three jewels of refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Sangha is an object of refuge. I mean, forget about singing songs. Even if you're able to feed all of the hungry people in the world, right? It's good. Don't get me wrong. But remember, in the Four Noble Truths, what is actually the cause of suffering? It's the ignorance sentient beings have. These two secrets of the mind. It's the ignorance sentient beings have about the two secrets of the mind. Conventionally, about karma, cause and effect. Why are there sentient beings suffering of hunger? They're ignorant about the karma of generosity. So you need to teach them about that. Actually, when just in France, Rinpoche had so much compassion. Of course he has compassion for all some things. He was talking about Africa, which he views as, which is true. It's so much suffering in Africa. You know, so many. When you think India is poor, many parts of Africa so much more poor than India. Wide-scale drought. There's all sorts of war, you know, famine, all these things going on. Just talking in the context of there's these prayers you can do. Individuals with pure karma, they can go say some prayers and they can make it rain. But then he wondered, he thought to send some people there, some monks. Monks who, by the way, since they live in pure morality, including not singing, their prayers are more powerful. Okay? Then he thought of sending them to Africa to make it rain. But then he thought, actually, if those sentient beings in that area don't have the karma, you can do all the rituals you want to make it rain. So then he thought, actually more important than that, try to just send some people there to teach. Not necessarily Shantideva, but just teach living with a good heart. Being kind to each other. Not harming. You don't have to say Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, don't have to have statues. Right? Not about Buddhism. Even this. Being kind to your neighbors. You know? Not cheating others. Benefiting others as much as you can. That's Dharma. It doesn't have to be Buddha Dharma to be Dharma. Then the karma can change. Then things can happen. So anyway, what was I talking about? Yes. Naturally unwholesome deeds. Those are the killing, stealing, you know, sexual misconduct, lying. Those, whether you're a monk, you're a nun, or anyone, it's an unwholesome act. Okay? So anyway, in doing that which by nature is not unwholesome, means doing virtuous activity, you do it both for the sake of yourself and other sentient beings. I shall always hold my mind fast. Means steadfast. You know, stable. Protecting the mind. Then, acting like an apparition with no sense of self. Means no ego getting involved. It's very pure. Even when we act in virtuous deeds, we have to be very careful then not to have a sense of ego that, oh, look how virtuous I am. You know? But just do it like an apparition. No sense of self. We're just acting to benefit others just because others want our benefit. Okay? So, if I come tomorrow at 10 a.m., how many of you are going to come tomorrow at 10 a.m.? Okay. What?
I am waiting.
Yes, okay. Shall we? Yeah, she can give the WhatsApp. Okay. Ooh. Okay, I'll just cancel.
I was motivated.
That's okay, it's okay. figure out my transportation. It might be good if I can at least get on the, what's the other train after? Tipu? We'll figure that out.
You don't worry, after the class I will talk to you.
Okay. I'm foregoing. I was going to have nice pancakes tomorrow. I'm joking. See, the worldly concerns. For once, practice of Dharma. Right? We give up worldly
Yes, we
concerns.
have
Benefit
okay.
others. Just joking, Shane. Joking. Okay? So let's dedicate the merit. So please think that due to the merit, that we've accumulated in our time here tonight, may all sentient beings, vast space, quickly be free from all of their suffering and abide in the perfect state of full enlightenment forever. And may this happen as quickly as possible. Then, for that to happen, may I myself, and I think, don't think you yourselves achieve the state of enlightenment as quickly as possible, so that you lead all others to that state also as quickly as possible. And even before all sentient beings are enlightened, may there be no undesirable things occurring in the world. So no famine, no disease, no war, no terrorist attacks. Nothing undesirable happen in this or any of the world systems from now until the end of samsara. In particular, may there be no natural disasters, and also may all the problems due to environmental degradation not instantly cease. I'll talk about that in 1 minute. Then may our holy gurus, who are showing the complete path to enlightenment, have walked us their lives, and may all of their activities of teaching and guiding us only increase, and may all of their holy wishes be accomplished immediately. And then may these teachings that show the methods to achieve enlightenment, to subdue the mind, may they only increase in the 10 directions forever. Okay? So that's it. So I wanted just to advertise a kind of personal plea. Yeah. I'm a feminist. I'm also an environmentalist. Okay. So I'm very concerned, we all should be very concerned about where this planet is going. Okay? And so please, I plead to all of you to try to get yourself educated about the environment, and do whatever you can to help kind of runaway train of environmental degradation. There's many things online where you can get yourself educated, and there's many tips you can do about things you can do as individuals to help the environment. And here in India especially, please try as much as you can not to use these single-use plastics anymore. Okay? Bring cloth bags with you wherever you go, so you don't have to take those bags from the store when you go shopping. Yeah? Bring with you reusable, refillable water bottles wherever you go, so you don't have to take unused water bottles. I have a very nice stainless steel hot cold tumbler, so you could ask, instead of getting a plastic cup or even the paper cups, try to get that filled. And there's so many ideas, big and small. use public transport as much as you can. You know? Anyway, there's many ideas. And all of you, you know, you can, the little influence you have, try to spread the word with your friends, being an example, carry those water bottles and bags with you. And people are like, what is this? And educate them. And then if you know people in the government, you can also educate them. And, you know, push for, you know, of course India has to come up a lot in terms of the electricity grid and all that. But rather than building all these new coal plants, you can just leapfrog and go to renewables. Right? You can do that very easily. And you know, since India has very little in terms of petroleum products, right? You have to import most of that. Then, you know, all the more reason to invest heavily in renewable energy sources. Okay? So tell that to Modi. Tell that to Modi. Okay, thank you very much.